Hi, hello, hello.
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Excellent, same. Right, how's your day been? Or
Oh,
week or whatever.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I just woke up a little bit ago, so my day's just starting.
Excellent, cool. So yeah, the reason, as you know, I've called you today is to have a quick chat about Sargon of Akkad because you've had far more interaction with him than I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then,
so yeah, I guess,
as a reminder,
sorry.
just we discussed this in the email. I'm streaming this, so don't say anything like personal for whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to introduce yourself real quick, just so people know who you are and what's going on?
Oh, okay. Hi, guys. I am Dave Aubrey. I am a, in quotes, journalist in the UK. I say in quotes because I mainly do video game journalism, which is sort of questionable compared to politics. But yeah,
Mm-hmm. What do you who do you work for, or what do you normally write for?
I write for a variety of like gaming sites like WCCF Tech and PocketGamer.com.
Okay.
But I've done writing for a whole bunch of different websites, and I wanted to sort of branch out into different things, which is why I'm asking you to do this interview with me.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So yeah, I guess the first question I wanted to ask you was like, Sargon of Akkad like rose to fame slash prominence with GamerGate. Do you feel like GamerGate was a political movement or was turned into a political movement?
Um, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like? Do you think it was co-opted or do you think it was started out that way?
Um, I feel like it's hard to say. So when I say political, I think it started out that way, but like the politics would be described like most succinctly as anti-SJW. Does that mean
Mm-hmm.
anything to you if I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I feel like. Maybe like the very first day Gamergate started, it wasn't like that, but very, very quickly, I think that's the bent that it kind of went on, like an anti-SJW, anti-political correctness kind of movement.
Mm. Do you think that's? Do you think there was like that was the intent from the beginning, or do you feel like there was quickly people that moved in to sort of like sway it towards like that political reactionary movement?
I mean, people have argued about this for since the beginning of the movement. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
like a strong position on this. I do think that there were legitimate grievances that like Gamergate addressed initially.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people will disagree with that and say that it was always started off with like bad intentions. But I mean, at the very least, I think a statement that everyone can agree on is there are people that thought that it started with good intentions, and there at the very beginning there were people that were involved that had somewhat good intentions, but it went bad like very quickly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. How do you think that the debate between like right and left politics has evolved online since then?
Like within like gaming circles or just like in general?
Both. I kind of feel like there's like a pretty pretty big overlap between the two, frankly.
Um, I, Oh wow, this is so hard to do without polling data because it's really going to depend like what part of the internet you're on for how you're going to
Mm-hmm.
feel like politics goes. To
Okay,
me, oh
so
god,
could we narrow it down to like YouTube then?
mm, yeah, but even on that, people, it's going to depend on what part of YouTube you're on.
Yeah.
It seems like the section, it's like very heavily sectioned off. This is an argument, I actually had this argument with Sargon of Akkad, I think a few weeks ago, on whether or not YouTube was more left-leaning or right-leaning. It seems like there is a very strong right-leaning presence on YouTube. Other people argue that YouTube is a much more stronger left-leaning platform, but those people will count like YouTube channels like Jimmy Kimmel, and they'll say like, oh, well, that's a left-leaning channel. So, whether or not it's more left-leaning or right-leaning, it seems like it really depends on what part you
Congrats,
spend the most time
Destiny.
in.
You've
It
roped me in
feels
for
like in
19
gamer
months.
circles, it feels like it has a right-leaning bend, I think. I don't know if that's because of the demographics, because it tends to be like white straight men, and those are probably a higher chance of being right-leaning than more women-centric audiences or minority-centric audiences, but yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you debate with a lot of like right-wing figures. How do you feel like things have changed in the last like 5 or so years online? I mean, like you said, I feel like the
Kumo, more like killed
anti-SJW
Mo Peppola.
side or rhetoric has rose to prominence, but do you feel like that has changed the way you've had to interact with people?
Can you phrase it in another way? What do you mean? Like,
I'm always terrible at phrasing myself.
no, it's okay.
Yeah, like I basically I think that fucking Gamergate and shit made things slightly more toxic when it comes to discussing politics online, whether that's on YouTube or Twitter or etc. etc. And as you're someone who regularly actually converses with these people, I want to know if you've seen like patterns in the way people approach these arguments, or the way you've had to approach these arguments yourself in order to make people understand.
I don't know if I would say it's made things more toxic. I mean, it's just kind of the way internet discourse is always like super hyperbolic, and people get like really crazy about things. But I don't know if it necessarily made it any worse than it already was. It's not like the internet was like a shining beacon of political discourse, and then Gamergate came along and ruined it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes yeah, that's true. And so moving on to like Carl himself, Sargon, whatever you want to fucking call him, like. Yeah, again, you're one of those people who've interacted with him more than most. Like, what the hell are his politics?
I think his politics can best be described as like anti-SJW. I think that pretty much defines like his entire thought process. He's just.
But is that even a political stance?
No,
is
not
that
really.
just is it just being a reactionary and saying you hate everything that seems politically correct? I don't get it.
Yeah, pretty much. We call them conservatives, but yeah, they don't like to be called that. So I don't know.
So yeah, like so Sargon in the UK, you probably heard, is a candidate to be a member of the European Parliament for the UK Independence Party, which is basically right-wing fascist party politics, blah blah blah. Like, does it surprise you seeing him move into that party?
I mean, not really. No. I mean,
no.
Seems like a good fit for him.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I guess the next question is like. Now we've got Sargon in that party, and as well as Count Dankula, another streamer type who got in trouble for like
I know
teaching
him.
his
I've
dog
talked to him as well, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh really? Damn, you've done it all.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, when I'm seeing these Gamergate style figures enter actual politics, and I need someone to clear this up for me. It's like. Do you feel like this is something that's been a long time coming, or
well, I mean, like the intersection
UKIP
of like
desperately trying to become popular? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so something that's been a long time coming is like we always joked about it, but eventually there's going to be a president that had like an Xbox Live account or something. I mean, it's always kind of like this intersection has been a long time coming. Gaming was a lot more popular, or gaming is like a newer thing, and as we get older, we're gonna start seeing older people that were involved in gaming communities, and some of these people might even become political. So yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably been inevitable.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, where do you feel like misogyny comes into the politics of Sargon and Count? What's his name?
I think a lot of Count Dankula. I think a lot of people are just kind of dumb. I don't think that they like hate women intentionally. I just think that people say a lot of things that are really dumb because they haven't really thought about the issues much. Like, for instance, I wouldn't say Sargon of Akkad is racist, but he thinks that, like, the way for black people in the U.S. to solve all their problems is if they all just get married with each other, that it'll fix everything. Like, it's one of those things where, like, people aren't usually, like, overtly racist or sexist. They're just kind of dumb or uninformed, and that seems to be where a lot of the Gamergate people fall.
Yeah. Okay. So... I mean, I went on to Sargon's channel the other day, and I just decided to go way back and look at its oldest remaining videos, and they are all Feminist Frequency, Anita Sarkeesian, fucking Zoe Quinn, just Gamergate obsessive shite.
Mm-hmm.
And from my eye, there's like a gentle curve from this Gamergate obsessed shit to becoming an actual, in quotes, political voice.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I would say like conservative, but yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel like there's been that curve for a lot of YouTube, or do you feel like that's just something I'm looking into too much?
That there's been like a soft curve to move from like gaming to politics, or?
I guess that's one way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. I mean, so what exactly is your question? If that's like an inevitability or?
Not an inevitability, but do you feel like the social circles that some gamers might sort of like put themselves in online
Mhm.
might lead them down this pipeline, rabbit
Oh yeah,
hole,
yeah, yeah,
whatever?
for sure. Like I think that gaming was kind of like a safe space for I guess you could say like white men or like white straight men. It was kind of like a safe space for them. And then as media has kind of become more progressive, I mean, you see this happen a lot in Hollywood, and then it's been happening in video games. I guess those groups start to feel threatened or attacked, and then they kind of lash out by becoming reactionaries.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that makes sense.
Hmm.
So, like, what is the end game for reactionaries? Like, what are they heading towards? Do they know?
No, I don't think they've thought it through very much. But it's
No,
usually
it's
just to
just
push
getting
back against whatever the leading conservative voices are saying, although they won't ever outright say that. So maybe a
hmm
pushback against like postmodern cultural Marxism or whatever Jordan Peterson says, I guess.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, Jordan Peterson. Um, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I have some more questions. I'm sorry, I'm just going to quickly look at my documents and
Yeah, no
shit.
problem.
Do you feel like there are any other like voices online which are leading people to become more conservative?
In gaming spheres or just in general?
In Yeah, both.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's tons of people online that are pushing like conservative rhetoric. Yeah.
Any that you'd point to?
I mean, anybody on YouTube. I mean, Ben Shapiro does it. Steven Crowder does it. That Mark Dice guy does it. Hold on, fuck.
Sorry.
They're doing a fire alarm testing my apartment still. Sorry.
Uh,
Um, yeah, the Mark Dice guy does it. Lauren Southern does it. Sargon of Akkad. Stefan Molyneux. I mean, any of like the YouTube conservative people are all trying to push people in that direction. Jordan Peterson.
mhm. I mean, whenever I hear a lot of these names, like it frustrates me how often I hear them being brought up alongside like gamers or some sort of gaming thing. I didn't even know who Stefan Molyneux was until it was like, oh my god, PewDiePie follows him for fucking whatever reason or
Yeah.
shit like that. And I keep feeling like gaming culture is becoming more entrenched with conservatism. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
is that something that's becoming a real problem? Do you think, or am I just again looking into that too much?
No, I think it's a pretty big problem. I think it's pretty dumb. Um, but I mean, like,
So,
yeah, I mean,
go on.
basically, there's just a ton of anti-SJW reactionaries, and that's just kind of how they define themselves. Like, yeah.
I guess my next question is like, do you think anything can be done to stop that or
Yeah, I mean, I think
pop
it's.
the
I mean, I
balloon?
try to. I mean, having people that kind of speak on the other side and kind of give voice to some more reasonable arguments, while everybody else is just being reactionary, I think is pretty healthy to do.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons I want to talk to you because I feel like you're one of the few voices on YouTube that like really has these discussions.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, do you? So you feel like debating these people, actually bringing their views to the forefront? Do you feel like this is going to help stem the tirade of stupid people being conservatives?
Yeah, I think it does. I think I've learned quite a few away from it, and I hope to
Hmm.
continue to do so. Yeah, I think it's effective to have these types of conversations, or to at least show that people on the left can have these types of conversations. I think is really important.
Hmm. Are there any other people on YouTube that you think could also be doing a similar job or a better job, or like again in engaging and converting, I suppose?
The people that I talk to are absolutely fucking crazy. I don't advocate for anybody to do what I do. I used to, but yeah, but the people are legitimately like insane. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
like to do what I do, and then other people have their place. You know, people like ContraPoints. They
Hmm.
do their thing in terms of like spreading like information and whatnot in a really useful way. So yeah, I think that people should just do whatever they feel like they're best at, and then yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Do you feel like there has to be any sort of change in the way that the left and the right debate or interact online? Like, personally, in my opinion, I would say that the left needs to become more proactive when it comes to debating, like you are. But I see so many amazing atheist types that want to debate online, like debate me, cuck, and you're one of the few people that actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like more people should be taking after you to sort of like
No, like I
have
said, like
more
I never
debaters on the
advocate
left?
for people to do what I do just because the people that I interact with are so crazy. I don't necessarily think that people have to do like the things that I do. Yeah, I wouldn't say people have to.
So, but even
Although
though they don't have to, is that going to like give too much leeway to the right wings who are more than happy to debate every half-informed person?
I mean, yeah, it does, but I mean, again, it's a lot to take on. So I feel uncomfortable like saddling people with that burden. Like, oh, well, you need to engage in debates with people that will try to dox you and kill you and like crazy shit like that. You know? Oh, hold on. Okay.
Does that happen a lot?
It's just yesterday and today, but yeah, it's
That's
really
not so
annoying.
bad. Yeah, it's bad enough. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Sorry, so you said you spoke to Count Dankula. How long ago was that?
I think like a year ago.
And like, is he like a politically engaged individual? Honestly, I haven't looked into it much.
About as much as Sargon is, yeah.
No, okay. So, what do you think he's in UKIP for? Is he just
I don't know, because
fucking?
they're reactionaries. Whatever like is SJW, they want to do the opposite. It's kind of like a rebellious teenager.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think of this from the side of UKIP? Do you feel like this is a right-wing party trying to get the gamer vote or something?
I have no idea what UKIP is doing. I really don't. I
Yeah,
don't know enough about your politics. I mean, I saw a
that's fine.
conversation with one of the it was between Sargon of Akkad and one of the one of the UKIP leaders, or one of the party leaders,
Possibly.
where he was basically telling Sargon like, why the fuck did you even join our party if you don't want to do anything? I have no idea what UKIP is doing. The way that I hear it described and people in my chat are saying it now is that UKIP is kind of an irrelevant / dead party, and they're just kind of doing whatever they can to like kind of hold on to some popularity right now. I don't know if that's true, but
That's fair. So I was talking at a fucking philosophy club a few weeks back about, it was shortly before the Jordan Peterson debate about fucking philosophy and right on left online debates and shit. And I actually mentioned your stream as being a good place for less informed people or people that haven't made up their minds, help them to see which figures they want to engage with politically online. And I actually mentioned your chat as being a really big plus point. And I say that in a weird way because, like you said, this anti-SJW thing is just like, oh, I hate political correctness and fucking not much else. And I feel like your chat doesn't give a shit about that sort of thing.
what do you mean?
Well, with Pepe the Frog and stuff being prominent, it's that throwback to 4chan and not being politically correct still. Sorry, I'm trying to fucking phrase myself properly. I see a lot of Pepe's in the chat. Basically, people were trying to say that political correctness puts people off left-wing politics. Oh, I don't want to be politically correct. It's like somehow...
I mean, I think it's more like the problem is like political correctness without like a good explanation, I think is a big problem. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being like politically correct. You just have to have like a good rationale for why you are, which is something that I think a lot of left-leaning people seem to be like really not like unwilling to describe. Like, you know, like I'm in favor generally of whatever you would call like politically correct, but I'm never going to call it political correctness, and I generally like describe it in a way that most people can understand it, I think, which usually helps.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, sorry, I've got one more. Let me just look this shit up. So do you feel like there are any like halfway houses? Do you feel like there's any ways we can introduce more agreeable right-leaning people into the leftist space and make them realize that it's not all about a bunch of fucking PC wanks or whatever? How do we make leftism left politics attractive?
I mean, I'd argue people like me do a good job at doing it. I mean, having people that come across as like fairly edgy, but like can still put forth like reasonable left-leaning, arguments. I think it's like really good.
Do you feel like edginess helps?
Yeah, for sure. I think people like edgy people. And it seems like the right kind of had like a monopoly on like edgy people, so it's probably good to have someone the left side.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to get at before with your chat and the Pepe thing. That like having something less politically correct, something less seemingly strict is a good way to introduce people to it. Okay, I think I've covered all of the bases, and I can't really think of much else, and I'm way too anxious being on the stream. But thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
If I have any follow-up questions, I might just send you a quick message on Discord, but that's probably unlikely.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for giving me the time. I know it wasn't much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot, man.